Alright, so here is the Bally MPU. This was originally from a Lost World. We're going to be reconnecting or redoing this J3 connector because somebody's got these questionable spade connectors as connector bypasses, and also it will randomly go into test mode, which is controlled by connector J3, so we're going to be redoing that. I'm going to see if I can maybe make a better pinout solution for this, because it does have a dead pin, but it doesn't have an orientation marker, so we're going to put that back in there. And then I'd also like to see if I could fix this jumper. This is now a Gamatron. So this is a Lost World MPU, and a Pinstar, well, it's also an MPU, and it jumps into here. I don't really know what this is called. I call this a leech board because it's just leeching into this one. This should also get recapped, but we're not going to do that right now because I don't have the components. I'm also going to go through and reflow all the pins and then go from there. And, ooh, that looks nice and proper. Sure, that's supposed to be like that. I got a couple of junk boards, so we'll see what we can do here. I've never found the instructions for these original Gamatron conversions, so I'm assuming the empty chip slots are correct. And somebody handwriting a new part number on there. We'll get it. Let's get started. Alright, here's the new connector for that. I've already snipped the pin out. Now, this time I got one of these repinning kits because I thought I was going to need it for another game. I was wrong. But, you know, we have a lot of Bally square heads in here. So I'm going to pull this out. Not very exciting. You just heat up the solder, suck it out with the solder sucker, and then slowly wiggle the thing out. So let me get that out and then see the condition of the rest of the pins. While you're in here, but you know, before you pull your first connector, just go through and reflow all these pins. There's two ways to do it. The easy and lazy way is to just heat them back up, and the camera's really not going to focus. It's a very old and kind of crappy camera. Just hold the pen to it. It'll melt, become liquid again, and let off, and you're good. You can add a little bit of solder, although I don't know if there's any negative effect to mixing solder types. I don't know what they used originally. I use this stuff. You get it off Amazon. It's just cheap Chinese parts, but it seems to work pretty good. I know how to work on cars, hence the Maserati. And there's a battery capacitor that's typically on these that I think someone has cut off. That tends to cause the acid damage that kills these MPUs for good. So I don't know. I'd say I'd go find a picture and point it out, but I'm not going to do that. You can look it up online if you need. Right, so I've gotten the new connectors in, both of them on this side, and I'm just going to check the continuity on these, because you can see they're kind of messy. I don't know what that brown stuff is, if it's some kind of solder splatter. One of the wires actually just fell off. I didn't have to desolder it. So we're going to see if I can do this one-handed. No, I cannot. Alright, well, alright. To itself, continuity, to the pin next to it. Nearest trace, nearest ground. Okay, next pin, to itself, fires, next to it, pin next to it, good to ground. Alright, that's good to go. So let's head over to the cabinet and get the connector itself fixed. Gamatrons were conversion games. So what happened is this came out in 1985, and that's going to come into play later. This was a Bally Lost World, and the MPU was also a Lost World. You look at this tag here, which I can't read that. I went to public school. Lost World, right there, stamped on there rather poorly. So you'd get this play field, and you'd get that other board, which is currently still sitting on the table needing repair, and you'd drop it in. And when I got to this game, it had a bunch of issues. I've already redone the driver board, recapped on the ground mods. I should probably repin it. All the connectors in this game are weird, but Pinstar was stern, sort of. You can look on PinWiki for that whole story. So there's just connectors that hang, and they're supposed to, like, NU, not used. They just hang out like this. So it's kind of impossible to know what's supposed to go where if it wasn't labeled very well. I don't know if I redid this power board. This looks like something I did in college. This nut through the board. Wow. Please focus, camera. But the complete disarray you always find these Gamatrons in it's something. This game has an intermittent reset issue. Sometimes it'll play fine, sometimes it'll go straight into test mode. And you look around and you see things that are very, very questionable in here. I did this because I had to get the head off to bring this up to college. I had to cut the harness which was very unnerving. So I got this connector, which is from a Last Action Hero, and forgot 2 wires. I was kind of upset about that because it was just going to be one nice, clean-ish connector, and it wasn't. And like you look around this is okay. I'm okay with that, but like, I mean, this is bad. I didn't do this. This worked, and I didn't know how to repin stuff at the time. So I'm going back and doing it now, also because that reset issue is still prevalent. Here's another connector with just crap cut out. I'm gonna have to make extensions for these wires. J2 mostly looks okay. I mean, nope, that wire is pulling out. Okay, well, let's get started repinning 600 connectors. Yippee! Oh, I was talking about these games came out in 1985. This, when the conversion came out, not Lost World, I forget what year it does, I don't really care. When this was new, it was kind of outdated, because by 85 you had more advanced features like ramps. This is the problem. I see that. This is the problem. Like, once you hit the mid-80s, games were getting a lot more complicated. You started having System 11 stuff. And when you look and you have games like these, and you have all this playfield, all this sound, you have speech, ramps, wireforms, you know, a bunch of stuff going on. I think Taxi is the closest in year to Gamatron. I believe Taxi was 85, 86. You know, it's you put these next to each other, and it's like, who really wants to play it? So that didn't end up being super successful, and you don't see them much anymore. And the patent for Gamatron was sold to 2 other companies that were not Pinstar. One of them actually made a proprietary cabinet for Gamatron, and it came out in, I think, 1988 or 89. So that you don't see those either. There's a lot of things that happen like that where it was knockoffs, or you know, they sold the patent and it became just crappy. These 2 wires, where one of the spades were that I marked as orange, has 2 wires going into it, and I'm assuming that's correct. So I just put them together and joined it out to this one, which I'm going to cut short and get to the connector. And I did grab a separate wire color. It's gone. It's gone. I lose things constantly. Well, I'll go grab another wire, so I have 2 separate wire colors, so these can be traced a little bit better. I'm assuming whoever did this originally wired it correctly. They did a horrible job, don't get me wrong. I mean, you just saw all the crap that happened. But if you look at the playfield, it's clearly been played more than a couple of times. So, you know, it's starting to wear around the inserts and around the mylar. I already have LEDs for this, but that's a whole... They flicker, and the adapter doesn't quite work, so we're going to see if I have a Altec light driver in something, see if that'll work. But yeah, so it's been played a couple of times, so I assume it works, and I got to play it even with the reset issue. So I'm really hoping that wiring is correct. I don't want to have to trace this, because there's not really a lot of schematics online, and if anything's crossed, you could have 1 wire crossed in the way they adapted the switch matrix, and it would just be hell. All of these connectors kind of just suck. So I'm going to go through here and make sure everything has good connection. Like, is this supposed to be cut off? Do we know? I don't know. Oh, when I got this, there's a pin in here. Someone really yanked the whole pin out. They didn't just cut the wire. Okay. And I'm confused. You know, let me finish the connector. I've had a couple people bring up to me about making YouTube videos while I'm here. This is my work. I'm at work. I work on pinball machines. I had a college degree to work on cars, and it didn't pay. So now I work on pinball machines. It's a good niche. And people are like, oh, make some. Oh, damn it! I just dropped the pin down the neck. That's in there forever now. Anyway, a couple people were asking me, like, hey, you know, make some videos while you're at work. I'd watch that. I was like, well, it's not exactly going to be educational, because I can't get a good camera view on what I'm doing. And if I have someone else here to hold the camera, one of my buddies, then, you know, I'll get distracted, and I won't be super efficient at doing what I'm doing. So you get this. You get informal. Watch it in the background. super professional work. Alright, 3 down, 42 more to go. I'm back over with the Gamatron Pinstar board, whatever you want to call it. I had initially sent these out to a guy for repair, and it was this set of high-speed boards. He did the high-speed boards, and he was like, listen, I don't want to work on this Pinstar board. Like, I don't know how it works, and I don't want to futz it up. I was like, okay, that's fine. And he's like, yeah, I saw this, and I threw you another ribbon cable. Looks used. I don't care. The guy does good work, so I'm sure it's a good part. What I don't understand is why there's this jumper runs to the back of the board, and they've soldered it right to the ribbon. Because you look at the pinout on the board, and it looks fine. But at the same time, it also looks like that trace doesn't go to... Okay, well, that's probably part of why it didn't work right, that it just fell off. But that trace doesn't appear to go anywhere. So I'm just going to put the new one in and test continuity between that trace and the far end of the connector. I should have some back probe T-pins I could put in here. I can't believe it just fell off. Dude, that is the second piece to fall off of this game. Well, that's what the second coffee is for, is to deal with that. Alright, so I couldn't use this nice new, well, used ribbon cable because it's too short. I put the old one back in. I didn't put the jumper back on because it didn't seem necessary. There really was not a trace there. J3 was fully redone, pins and connector. J2, just the pins were redone, but the connector really held to it. This bit here, which I believe is just either 5 or 12 volt for this, probably 5 volt for this board. The pins were really loose, so I repinned them to give them a little extra grip, because otherwise they were kind of just falling out. And I put everything back together. I'm gonna click it on. Oh. No, honey, not that. Okay. Now if you recognize the sound, it's actually because this is Flight 2000 software. There's the flickering lights. So I'm going to kind of put my tools away here, leave this on, and see if it resets. And then if it does reset, I'm going to be very upset. But real quick, I'm going to reseat that connector because she's pulling out. I was out here, I was going to be real upset. I was like, oh, the displays failed. And it's like, no. Well, some of these displays actually should have more digits than they do. But these came from Harlem Globetrotters. This game actually had wolf packs in it, which is a aftermarket build-it-yourself display. I had to switch them because, like I said, Globetrotters died and this game didn't work, so I took them from this. Seems alright so far. Let's see if I can give it a play. Let's see, now it's correct. Oh no. Come on. God. There we go. Alright, so it works, and it hasn't done a reset so far, so I'm going to leave it on. It's getting a space cleared for it in that corner. I want to put 2 games there, and the cabinet on this sucks, and it's always dark over there, so we're gonna shove that there. We'll see what's going next to it. When it's not showing the high score, the displays are all screwed up. But when you're actually playing it, it works. This one's missing a bunch of digits, which is why I pulled them all to Globetrotters, but it's fine. I think I might paint this head trim black just to kind of help it out, because this is still a Lost World cabinet. Now, Joe, he owns this game, he bought Gamatron cabinet decals, an aftermarket thing, but it requires painting the whole cabinet black, and I've just gotten myself a nice automotive spray gun, so I'd like to properly sand this down and do it. It's also got a bunch of like holes and stuff that need filled, so I'm not going to do it right now, but that's a good thing as a temporary, because realistically I'm not painting the whole cabinet till next summer. But let me move some stuff around there, get this to where it's probably going to be, and then I'll take some videos of it playing. Ooh, actually, let's see if I could find something. See if I've got a Alltech light driver or something. See how these are flickering? They weren't. I LED'd this game and they didn't flicker, and then one day they did, and they actually flicker worse with the LED adapter installed, so I'm not sure what happened there. But let's see what I can find. Who would have one? This one's a video for another time, but I know for a fact I know for a fact that this has an Alltech light driver in it, because this has Alltech everything in it. And it does have Alltech everything in it, but it doesn't work because a lot of the connectors are futzed up. So the biggest issue is it only has one flipper. Come on, I gotta fix that. The connectors are all wonky, and this one's been redone a little bit. Let me grab this light driver. So see, I have the Alltech in, and I did have the trace here on, but it just ghosts really badly. And if I reinstall the jumper, should go to here, it just gets worse, ironically. It's like there's wire not touching, there's wire touching. I'm not sure. You can see it's still pulsing them, but they're mostly just on. I don't quite understand why. So I'm just going to put the original light driver back in because it's a little better. Like I said, the LEDs used to work fine in this game. I don't know what happened. So it's probably something downstream of the board. But I'm going to put that back in 8-Ball Deluxe, and I'm going to throw this back in because it's fine. It looks like somebody dated it 620, rebuilt or tested. I'm going to go with tested because most of these transistors look pretty old. Kind of forgot, on the back of this game, there's this control panel sticker. And it's from an Asteroids. You can see thrust, fire, hyperspace, instructions, your start buttons. Actually, would be there, I think, because there's start. No idea why that's on here. There's also somebody's very, very poor cabinet reinforcements. When I go to paint this, I might see if I can just use a donor cab instead of this one, if I'm going through the effort of, sanding it down and repainting it, because this is a lot of junk that's going to be hard to fix. And I've got some other games that are not really fixable that'd be better. Oh, I started painting this black. That's first coat. It's kind of see-through. Check this out. This is the paint I use. It's almost an exact match to the original Williams black. I did this time machine with it not very long ago. That's a burr in the wood. I also did Dirty Harry. So here's the color of Dirty Harry's interior. And then here's the remake Cactus Canyon interior paint. It's really not far off. Oh, whoops. Pick up things. Another good example. This Getaway is original. You can see it's kind of shiny. This Theater of Magic I redid. A little less shiny, but it's the right color. It really looks good. So, there you go. Craftsmart multi-surface satin. Maybe if you get gloss, it'd be correct. But for what I do, it's good. I gotta, it's still thin, but I'm working on it. Alright, this thing needs to go outside. I brought it inside because it's cold. I didn't want to have to work on it outside. It had an overheating concern. The thermostat's not really opening, like at all. So I gotta warm this up a little bit, but not too much, which shouldn't be an issue. Also gotta find the headlight switch. But check this thing out. There you go. Ferrari engine. Very nice. I gotta get this all opened up, and you know what else I gotta find is the headlight switch. I don't know where it is. All right, well, let's give me a second. Alright, so I've actually been doing some reorganizing because the camera battery died. Black Hole and Fathom are here now. They were in that gap. I'm going to expand my car bay over there and also make a lounge. I'm still sketching it. But Gamatron and now Tempest are over in this corner. Thank you, buddy. I already re-leveled these games. The projector was working on this, but in typical Haggis Fathom, no longer. I gotta find a new spot for this fan, which also I want to put over there. And then obviously this doesn't usually sit here. But unfortunately, the reset issue wasn't fixed. It will still go into reset, although less often than before. Hey! Hey! It will still go into reset, though less often than before. The black head trim actually worked out pretty well, because if you're here playing it, it looks fine. I mean, the front of it's still Lost World, but this is what I meant, where it kind of gives it a bit of a better look. The displays, I mean, some of them work, some of them don't. They're usually junked anyway. I'm sorry, not usually junked. They're, what's the damn word I'm looking for? They were already bad. I took them out of Globetrotters. I mentioned this earlier. Tempest works fine. Didn't block my electrical box. I still have a direct path over to it, because, you know, fires are bad. And then this nice Haggis cabinet is visible. The cabinets they did a good job on. Just every single other aspect of the game, you know, not really. This is the best angle I can get to play this game, given the camera I'm using. Let's see if I can do anything better than this. No. No, I cannot. Alright, well. Close! Coin door, no! Ah, there goes my ball. It plays. It plays a bit. I mean, it is a good game when it works. It works now. I'm trying to focus both on having it in frame and playing it, so I'm not doing particularly well. The spinner goes nicely when you actually hit the thing. Hold on. Let me try and set up a multi-ball here. This game actually having multi-ball is a really nice feature. I've got it all set up here. And if you notice the playfield, this is just a Flight 2000. It's a fun game, like I said, because I never liked that Flight 2000 was a wide body. I find basically every wide body to be slow and boring, or the angles just don't line up. It's really just not my thing, is all. It's nothing with the, you know, how it was made. Oh, that was a great multi-ball. But this plays great. It's kind of the way Flight 2000 should have been. And I'm great at it, clearly. But it's not fixed yet, but it's better than it was. And that's kind of important. This game's been on the backlog for months. So the fact that I made some progress is great. So I'll see. I've got a bunch of other stuff to move on to. And I got a lot of stuff to fix, a lot of stuff to make videos on. So I'm going to figure that out, snippet this together, and then see what I can do.